This is Optimal Living Daily, episode 1667, When Adventure Calls, by Kat Medina of catmedina.com. And I'm Justin Malik here every single day of the year, including weekends and holidays, like today. It's the 4th of July here in the U.S. Hope you're having a happy one if you're in the States, despite everything going on with the pandemic, but still bringing some positive messages to you to brighten your day, covering personal development or self-help, how to live a better life, and a lot more. It's always with permission from the authors or websites. Just hit the subscribe button to get new episodes for free. Today's post being from Kat Medina, so let's get right to it and start optimizing your life. When Adventure Calls, by Kat Medina of catmedina.com. Adventure is calling. It's been far too long since my last dose of cathartic culture shock. I crave the moments of novelty that awaken the senses and rattle me down to my core. I long for the undeniable inner knowing that tends to only come about when I travel, the reassuring gut feeling that I'm exactly where I should be, doing exactly what I'm meant to be doing. A feeling of trust that for once all is well regardless of challenges or chaos, that things are as they should be. It's rare to feel that way. I remember the first time I experienced it. I was boarding a plane just after turning 17 years old and was leaving on the first of many solo adventures abroad. I'd be spending the next 6 months in France as a part of a student exchange program through the American Field Service. As I passed through airport security, I turned to look back at my family and friends who came to see me off. Each time I looked back, they quickly smiled and started waving until I turned the corner. And then I was on my own. It was exhilarating and scary as I didn't speak French and had never done something like this before, but from the time I was a little girl, I dreamt of becoming an explorer who traveled the world instead of walking down the aisle with Prince Charming. I longed for adventure. So when the airplane's engine started to rumble, I felt an electric calm. I knew I was living the way I was meant to live. The decades to follow were spent wandering a meandering path of trial and error. I went to college and got a degree in international business, got a soul-crushing cubicle job, got laid off during the recession, and then started my own business while waitressing on the side. I always doubted if I was living my purpose. The sense of knowing that reassured me tended to only come about when I was abroad, and it made me question everything in my daily life. I grappled constantly with the concept of purpose. Wasting my time doing the wrong thing terrified me. I dreaded the thought of looking back from my deathbed with regret after realizing I lived my life based on the expectations I thought others had for me. A couple of years ago, I reached a breaking point. I was fed up with the doubt that crept in when I was between travels. I decided to do a thought experiment. What if instead of chasing the next adventure for the sense of purpose and joy I craved, I tried to find it wherever I was at? I took an honest look at who I was and how I acted when I traveled and deconstructed the behaviors that contributed to that knowing feeling that seemed to come effortlessly when I was abroad but was elusive in daily life. When I traveled, I felt fully alive. I would look around me with awe at the new sights and smells, inhaling the present like a much-needed breath of air. I see challenges and unexpected setbacks as part of the adventure, recognizing that they were the elements that made up a great story. I'd find the humor in a situation and laugh freely. I was open-hearted and eager to participate in life. My perspective was rooted in an appreciation for the wonder around me. It seemed that it all came down to one thing. As soon as my feet touched the tarmac of a new destination, I'd instantaneously embody a traveler's mindset. All 5 senses would kick into overdrive, and I'd observe everything around me with curiosity and gratitude. Those two powerhouses prompted open-hearted participation in the moment at hand and the unbridled joy that's born from a genuine admiration for life. By applying a traveler's mindset at home, I began to see my life with fresh eyes. I started to become aware of the gifts that I had grown accustomed to and overlooked because of their commonality and dependability. I viewed my home and the basic necessities of clean running water, electricity at the flip of a switch, and having enough food to eat for what they were, incredible blessings that I was lucky to have. I began to view unanticipated hiccups in my day's schedule as potential opportunities for adventure. If something didn't go as planned or took me away from my to-do list, I attempted to go with the flow, improvise, and see the humor. I observed the bustling movement around me with compassionate eyes. Fellow patrons at a restaurant, people in the grocery store, or passing by on the street were viewed through a lens of shared experience. All of us were here, moving through our separate lives, yet all connected as we were inexplicably intertwined just by being in the same place at the same time. I smiled at them and acknowledged their presence. Little acts of kindness prompted interesting and surprisingly genuine conversations with strangers turned fellow human beings. We were all in this together. When I shifted my mindset, the joy and aliveness that had previously only come from traveling became ingrained in my daily life. It wasn't necessarily traveling that gave me the sense of knowing and purpose I craved. It was the act of participating in life from a place of open-hearted curiosity, presence, and genuine gratitude for all that is. You just listened to the post titled When Adventure Calls by Kat Medina of catmedina.com. Thank you to Kat. It is tough to travel right now with everything going on, so it's possible this one made you feel like you miss traveling, or even getting out of the house for that matter, depending on your situation. But I really like that last bit. It wasn't necessarily traveling that gave me that sense of knowing and purpose I craved. It was the act of participating in life from a place of open-hearted curiosity, presence, and genuine gratitude for all that is. That's important to remember, a strong statement, and hopefully we can take on that mindset today when many of us would probably like to be traveling or spending time in big groups, especially with it being Independence Day here in the US, if you're listening in real time. But I'll leave it there. Thank you for listening and being here, even on weekends and holidays. And thank you for subscribing to the show and sharing it with others. It's thanks to you that this podcast can keep going. Have a great rest of your day, a happy holiday for you in the US. I'll be back tomorrow as usual, where your optimal life awaits.